Next up, we have Martin, our regular on Scratch Builder's Corner. He's going to feature O-scale Exacta passenger cars, a continuation, and always an interesting program. Martin, you're on.
Yes, thank you. Well, I'll try to be interesting. So a belated Happy New Year to any and all who celebrate New Year's and are probably still recovering from it in some cases. So this is where I was last year. I foreshadowed the next adventure into the what I call the red Exacta car. Oddly, it is painted red. Um, and this is a show. This is the picture I showed last year of this side of the car. Besides just being kind of dirty, it doesn't look too terrible, but I'll point out that there's more to than just dirt that has to be dealt with this car. You can see actually here along the top here, this lettering, Pine River and Northern. That is paint. I don't think it's hand painted. I think this is pad transfer, rubber stamp. Somebody had made custom and they stamped it on there as they did it. It's too neat to be hand painted, and the other side matches it too perfectly to be. I just can't believe somebody painted it perfectly in the same location, the same spacing, with the same parts of the font and everything. Over here, where you think that's dirt, that's actually gold lettering. There's gold lettering on here. That's PR and N. Oddly placed, obviously. And what you can just barely see, it says right here, Wagner sleeping car. And that's what this car really is. It's a Wagner sleeping car from the 1880s, 1870s, 1880s into the 90s. They were sort of a precursor to Pullman and a competitor of Pullman. So there were Wagner sleeping cars. This is these windows here are covered over on both ends with some sort of louver material. It's metal. I'll let you know how I found that out later in a couple of slides. But other than that, it's kind of dirty. The roof's in pretty good shape. It looks great until you pick it up, and it sounds like somebody put a handful of marbles on the inside. So there's obviously a problem with the inside. We have to take that apart. That'll be the first adventure. Here's the other side. You see we've lost a little piece that was, glue has finally failed and fallen off. Not a hard fix. Nothing here is really terribly difficult. It's pretty grubby on this side. I don't know what that is. It's not just dirt. And here's the underbody. It's surprisingly detailed. I mean, this car is probably 80 years old. Maybe I neglected to mention it. This is the sides of this car are a stamped, 3D stamped, embossed copper alloy. The sides and ends are soldered together. The floor and roof are wood. It's got some weight to it. You can see all kinds of interesting stuff here. I have no idea if any of it's right, wrong, or otherwise. I'm not going to mess with it. It's in fairly decent appearance from the sides. It looks like a passenger car. Good enough. I'm not going to worry about it any more than that. But we still have to get the roof off. And I thought, well, the first thing I was going to do, take the trucks off, clean them, so on and so forth. That's not going to happen. And here's the reason why. We have a wire bridging the side frames, which are, by the way, are bronze. That wire runs under this wheel to this little post, to this wire, which comes around here, wraps around, and then goes up into this tube. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Kind of makes it a little dicey taking the truck off. Even if I could get a screwdriver on this screw, I'm not sure I'd want to take them off. And the other one at the other end has a similar arrangement. What the heck is this? And that is the screw that holds the roof on. There's one at each end. Whoop. Take my hand off that thing. And knows what those screws are. They're 2.5 inch long screws. So, start backing these out and backing them out and backing them out, and you begin to wonder, how far does this go? Well, it goes through the entire car body into the roof. And once the screws were out, the roof just popped off smooth as glass. It was amazing. I've never been able to take a roof off such a car so easily. It's very, very well fitted. It's a very precise job. Whoever built this thing did a great job of the assembly and the soldering work, putting the sides of the roof together. So it makes my life a lot easier to taking it forward. So 2.5 inch wood screws. Not a common model railroading passenger car component. Here's the inside. Well, we have a little white light bulb in a fixture, which is pretty cool. I mean, I wish I could find 5 or 6 more of these. I think they're actually pretty nice, and I'd like to use them in other cars. But I have no idea where they come from. Like I said, this is 80 years ago. And here's where other wires come from. Those wires from the tube underneath. Well, there's a tube on the inside, and this wire goes down on the inside and meets by friction contact with that tube. So the wire coming up from the underbody versus the wire in the top don't actually connect. They just rub against the brass tube on the inside of the body. And there it is. Oh, here's that brass tube right here. And nicely, well, let's see. Yeah, this end's labeled X. So whoever put this together, this is the X end. The other end is O. Somebody was playing tic-tac-toe, apparently. But whichever it is, it makes my life a lot easier. I don't have to add my marks to reassemble it. I know the X end of that roof goes at this end of this car. I just had to thread that wire down this tube, the wire down the tube on the other end. It slides right back together. I was actually pretty amazed. This is what's left of the interior. Pretty heinous. But we'll dress this up. We'll improve this a lot. It needs a new interior. And I'm not going to backdate it to 1880, 1870. We're going to mishmash it together because that's what was in it to begin with. So here's the other end, which is, there's the other brass tube. This is the O end. It's a nice little cabinet that somebody built. And there was I think there's another cabinet somewhere here that I salvaged. And these are the lovely pieces that were rattling around on the inside. Yeah. These are white metal chairs. There's about a pound of lead here. Some odd figures. Young lady missing part of her leg. Part of a table. Probably belongs to one of these two. I don't think we're going to use any of this stuff. This is all going to go away and get replaced. So we got stuff to do with this car. I got to clean everything. That's the first step. Sit down with a sponge, damp makeup removal tabs. Wipe everything down, clean everything down. Don't ruin anything if I can help it. Just water. I'm not going to use anything else at this point. A little bit of damp with water. Wipe it all down. Keep wiping it down until whatever I'm wiping it down with comes away clean. Just get the dirt off it. In some cases, that's a small box of Q-tips. Very patiently, just go over everything until you get it clean and stop. Then we got to build a whole new interior. Okay, we don't have to do the whole interior, but we have to get a little creative because that is not a standard passenger car interior space. We're going to need some tables, some chairs, some furniture, other odds and ends. Fix a few roof issues. Okay, roof issues are minimal. I'm not even gonna paint this roof, repaint it. The other car, I recovered the entire roof with tissue, napkins, painted it. This roof I'm going to leave alone. The quality of the paint on it versus the wood grain doesn't really show through noticeably. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, the rest of the exterior. This is where it's a challenge. Cleaning it, yes, obviously clean it. A lot of cleaning. Then I have to get rid of that white lettering and the gold lettering without destroying the red paint underneath of it. And I'm not optimistic about that, to be honest. Removing a layer of paint off a layer of paint, even with, tiny Q-tips and tiny brushes and whatever type of material, magic solvents you want to use, something's going to get ruined probably along the way. And eventually, I guess I'll probably end up just accepting that as being the result, and finding a red that's close enough that it doesn't detract too badly, and probably end up repainting the letterboard. And then I want to highlight that Wagner sleeping car lettering, that raised embossed lettering. I got to go find my artist's gold leaf paint, aged gold leaf paint, wherever it is, hiding in one of the drawers in the cabinet. And a very, very small brush, and many hours without caffeine. Keep my hands steady. So that's where we're going to go. And that's where we're going to go next week. So we're stopping right here. And we'll give you the rest of it next week, and we'll wrap it up.
Thank you very much, Martin. Tell me, do we know much about Exacta? That's the manufacturer, is that right?
Yeah, they're actually more known for more modern cars and locomotives. They did a lot of diesels in the 30s, 40s.
That would be an interesting program unto itself.
Well, I don't have any of them. I do know some people who do, and actually, Jim DeBruin, who used to be the O-Scale archaeology column in the O-Scale Trains magazine, was on our show. Oh gosh, 2 years ago, 3, whatever. Maybe we can ask him to come back and talk to us about Exacta.
Yeah, let me do that.
Thank you. I'll find his email for you.
Thank you for this evening's presentation. And now we'd like to run our scholarship ad.